Welcome to Tracking the Wolves. This week we are talking men's basketball. It's officially the winter sports season for Wolves Athletics, and today we have head men's basketball coach Paul Sather. Coach, you're in about a month into the season right now. Give us an update on the team this year.
Well, we're just trying to kind of find our team identity at this point in time. A lot of new guys, and not just, we've got 10 returning guys, but, new roles for guys. And I think these first few weeks we're trying to find out which guys are able to step in and fill certain roles, which is some of the guys we redshirted, like Michael Schreiber and Darren Peterka and Spencer Pankinen. Which of those guys are going to be able to come in and help us the way we need them to this year. And then, our new freshman guys, which ones are able to come in and give us some help this season. And so there's a lot of things we're just trying to sort through and figure out and navigate through to see what kind of team we can become.
Well, you've had 3 games this year so far, and we opened up with Creighton exhibition. Great experience for the student athletes to go down to Omaha. And then last weekend we were in the Sanford tip-off showcase down in Sioux Falls, got to play a couple of in-region games. What did you see out of your team in those first 3 games?
Well, I think we got better, each week, and that Creighton game allowed us to go against some really high-level guys. I think they're a Big East school. They're picked to finish second in that league. They've got, maybe the best scorer in college basketball in Doug McDermott. And it allowed us to play with some of these new rules, that the new emphasis and some of the changing rules against some really high-level guys. And I think defensively we've got a chance to be a really good team. And that was a concern we had going in. We lost some veteran big guys. We lost a real athletic point guard. And with the Creighton game and the 2 games at the Sanford against Central Missouri and Missouri Western, we played against some very good athletic teams, some very good athletic point guards. And a guy like Sky and Tyden and Jared and Mitch and all the guys were needing to guard those really athletic guys. I thought did a good job. And that was probably one of our biggest concerns. And listen, it's something we've got to emphasize. It's something we've got to really try to get better at each week defensively. Because we're going to see some awfully good teams in our league. But, and I thought offensively we're starting to see some guys step up some. How are we going to get to the free throw line? And I think everybody in that Missouri Western team we played got to the free throw line. And we're finding ways. We'll have some teams that are maybe more athletic than us, but we're finding ways to get to the free throw line. We've got good depth. And, we've got guys that can shoot the ball well, from Sky Warwick, who I think made 6 threes against Missouri Western, to Jared, to Mac, to Ty, to, all the guys, Darren Peterka, Spencer Pankinen. We got a lot of different guys that can step out and make threes. So we're finding out a lot. You score 87 points. We pass the ball well. We understand how to play, and that's something that can really benefit us.
Good. Well, tonight you have a opponent, Jamestown, a familiar opponent. Justin Wicks, the head coach up there, and it really starts a stretch of 4 home games for us in the next week. What's the outlook this week with you've got some NAIA opponents coming in and kind of getting the prep ready for the NSIC opener, which is a couple weeks away?
Yeah, I think each of these teams we're playing will present some different challenges. Tonight Jamestown ranks first in the country in NAIA and made threes, and they shoot it really well. They shoot it at about 41%, which is tremendous. So they're making 10 threes a game at 41%. They run, they'll push the ball. They average 93 points a game. And NAIA, and along with the new rules, I think is sometimes you get a more perimeter-oriented team and game and style. And so we're going to see some transition basketball. We got to get back defensively. So it forces some of our bigger guys to maybe guard some more perimeter-oriented guys, and so it's great for them. We get to our league, it's going to be bigger, especially on that front line side of it, and not necessarily always better than what Jamestown brings, but just more size and more depth. And this team tonight will come in with no fear, and they're going to play hard. And they're going to really look to be aggressive offensively. And, we've got to do a great job of keeping guys in front, contesting their threes, and not letting them get to the free throw line, because they're getting there a lot. And with our size advantage, it's a concern because, we've got to try to get down and guard these guys as well.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the senior leadership this year, or the upperclassmen leadership on your team, and the guys that have been on the program for 3, 4, sometimes 5 years. What's the outlook with them and the challenge for them this year?
Well, I think Trent Zomer and Jared Hannigan are 2 seniors, but Tyden Storenston's been here the longest. He's coming on. This is his 5th year here, and he's only a junior with his knee injuries. But those 3 guys provide a lot of experience, and the challenge of it is, like anything else, as that leader and as that upperclassman, every day they need to make sure they're coming in with one thing in mind: how can we help this team, and what do we need to do to help this team get better? And that approach, they can't make it about themselves. They got to make it about this team, and they're doing a great job of that. And I think that's something our team has. I think we've got a really good group of guys that like each other, that want to compete. And, we're upperclassmen, and it's not just those 3. It's, it's the other guys that have been here as well. And whether you redshirted last year or you played last year, guys like Mac and Ty, or Mac and Sky, along with Darren Paterka and Michael Schreiber, Mitch and Seth, Spencer, all these guys have been here for at least a year or 2 years, going on their 3rd. So, we've got good veteran guys back. We're just trying to kind of fill those voids that we lost in scoring. But from a team standpoint, I think that's a great strength of ours.
Good. Well, it should be a fun, exciting year in Walks Arena for basketball. We start tonight, which will kick off 4 straight games in home in 5-6 days here. Yeah. So get out, support your Wolves. Should be a fun season for Wolves athletics. And a shout out, of course, to our #1 fan, Nate Thompson. Keep doing what you do, Nate. Go Wolves.
We know you want family-friendly sporting events.
Sporting events where you can be comfortable
and entertained in a positive environment. Watching great individuals and teams compete.
With commitment, effort, and good sportsmanship. That's what the Division II Game Environment Initiative is about.
Be a part of the excitement and find out why.
These student athletes say with pride,
I chose
Division II.
Welcome to Tracking the Wolves. I'm Associate Athletic Director Zach Flackus. Today I'm filling in for Shayna and Ben, who just couldn't make it today. I'm assuming they slept in, how college students are. Today we're going to be talking to NSU's basketball players, Jared Hannigan and Trent Zomer. Fellas, thanks for showing up today.
Welcome.
I've had a little change in the weather. It's no longer 60 degrees and sunny. How's this cold weather affecting some of your teammates?
Oh, well, yesterday we had 3 guys sitting on the sidelines, one with a cold. So a few guys getting a little bit soft with the cold weather.
Soft, I like that. Jared, you grew up in Aberdeen, though. This really doesn't impact you, does it?
No, this is just a normal, day. It could be 60 degrees tomorrow and the next day snowing, blizzarding, so kind of used to this by now.
Melbourne climate is, besides it being the opposite of ours, is it similar? Or?
No, we don't get any snow unless you go looking for it. So.
Okay, but do you get a little bit of cold weather or no?
Average low in the winter would probably be about 45, 50.
Okay, so definitely a little bit warmer than here. But you know what? Actually, you two are both multi-sport athletes. I know both your backgrounds a little bit. I want to talk about that a little bit. Jared, you grew up right here in Aberdeen. I grew up watching you play baseball, football, basketball, run track. Having a multi-sport background like that and then deciding to play one sport in college basketball. Has that helped you be a college basketball player?
I think it definitely has. Just from not switching, I'm always focusing all year around just on that one sport instead of switching seasons from focusing on throwing a football or catching a baseball or just running. So just focusing on some of the other skills just that I'm using on the court all the time is kind of nice just to be doing.
You're a senior this year, so that means for the last 4 years you've really focused on basketball. Have you ever missed any of the other sports? Track, it's probably different. I don't know if you can miss long jumping, but whether it's baseball or football or just the change of seasons?
Kind of miss it when you're watching it on TV or watching college football and some other sports just on TV. It's kind of nice to be still kind of playing those sports a little bit, but I love basketball and I'm glad that I'm doing it right now.
Well, and especially at the Division II level, it's a commitment. College basketball is no longer a 3-month sport like it was 20 years ago. It's pretty much a year-round commitment. Trent, you came from a little different background, coming from Australia. Out of high school, you played Australian rules football for a while. And did you still play some basketball at that time, or did you just play football?
Well, growing up, since I was 6, I pretty much played Australian football, and then I took up basketball when I was about 12, 13, and sort of mixed and matched, played both. There were different seasons, winter and summer. And then really straight out of high school I got drafted into the pros, and I played that for 2 years before getting let go or not offered another contract, and then I switched my attention back to basketball and spoke to my club coach, and he sort of got me a spot over here.
Jared, do you think you could do that? Maybe learn how to play Australian rules football with Trent, or teach him American rules football, or?
I don't know. I can throw it, and I've seen him throw, and he can't really throw it, but I can't kick it, and that's all they got to do over there. So, pretty evenly matched, I think.
It is a different sport. I've watched it on TV many a times, and it's interesting in the effect that you're used to American rules football, and when you watch Australian rules football, it looks a lot more like a combination of rugby and American rules football. So very interesting to watch, though. Talking just a little bit about your past, what made you choose Northern State University? I mean, coming from Melbourne, Australia, had you ever even heard of Northern State?
Before I started looking for a college, I hadn't, but my club coach at Ringwood, the club I grew up playing for, their men's team sort of had an association. The coach there in '99, he took Ryan Miller and Mark Rich, and they played for Ringwood. And then actually the year I was looking to go to college, they had Kevin Ratch playing on the team. So it was really because of Kevin got in contact with Coach Sather, and from there ended up signing the national letter of intent to come to Northern.
Do you get back home to Australia very often?
Previously I had gone home every summer break, but this past year I stayed here, so I haven't been home since August 2 years ago.
Well, and I know both you two have a good leadership role on the team, and I'm assuming that's part of it, just you guys feeling that, this is your senior year and getting after it a little bit. Got a lot of young guys on the team. How does that weigh into some of the decisions you guys make? You guys are now the leaders on the team. You don't have any upperclassmen anymore. I mean, it's you two kind of leading the team.
Yeah, I guess that was probably the primary reason why I stayed, to work the summer camps with all the new guys coming in and have the facilities here to be able to work out every day. It was nice.
Jared, you took a little more traditional route, drove across town actually. I think you were born and raised here in Aberdeen. When you were making your decisions on where you're going to college, did you look at other schools besides Northern?
Yeah, it was mainly between just if I wanted to play football or basketball. I was pretty much narrowed down to basketball for sure at Northern, and then football at South Dakota State. So I wanted to stay in town and play basketball here for this best fans in the nation, pretty much.
We appreciate that too. You here again, you had a little bit different path because you were actually recruited by Coach Meyer, and then Coach Meyer retired, and you brought in Coach Sather. Were you familiar with Coach Sather at all?
I wasn't at all, but he was out west, and we played our state tournament out there. And my parents met with them while we were playing and stuff. And my dad said that he really liked Sather, and kind of just gave me some information. And I was pretty much on board from there.
And if I remember right, you had a pretty heavy class that came to Northern at that time. There were several guys that came and played football. You played basketball. In front of this hometown crowd in this setting, what's that like to play? Northern basketball it's kind of a big deal in the area. I mean, we've got a long tradition and history of success. Added pressure, or was that just enjoyment for you?
Pretty much enjoyment. There's a little pressure. I got tons of family at every game, and just a lot of fans and friends always there. So it's just a lot of fun to play in front of everybody still.
Our basketball season just got started. We've played a couple games preseason where we had some exhibition, things like that. And then this last weekend we went down and played in the Pentagon Classic, where we played 2 teams. Jared, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about Central Missouri in the first game that we played down there?
They were a pretty good team. They had a lot of transfers that come in every year, I guess. So there are a lot of new guys that we got a lot of JUCO stats on and stuff. So they had a good point guard that we knew about, and we did a really good job. I don't know what we held him to. We held him to a low percentage, and I think they had played Missouri the week before, and he had 14 assists against Missouri, and they were up on Missouri, and we held him to just a few assists and a few field goals, and it was a good game. And they had a shot at the few seconds left, and we had a shot to beat them, but we missed it, and that's what happens, and just got to move on and learn from it. So.
You know, it was a quality opponent, first game of the year right out of the chute. I'm assuming you'd have liked to have maybe had a warm-up game. I know we played the Blue Angels in an exhibition, but that was probably a little bit more of a difficult game because they didn't really have an offensive set, a little undisciplined on defense. Probably really wasn't like the game environment of playing Central Missouri, was it?
Oh, definitely not. Central Missouri was kind of up in our grills trying to get in steal lanes and just kind of gambling and just playing run and gun pretty much.
You know, and then we come back, Trent, the next day we play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a late afternoon game, followed the next day by a 2 o'clock game. We end up winning by, I suppose, 10, 12 points we won, but it seemed like we were in much more control on Sunday in the game. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that game?
It was good. It's a credit to the guys. I mean, a young locker room, but we managed to forget the day before with a short turnaround, and we came out, started a little bit slow, but sort of picked it up, and we had guys step up. I mean, Carter got hurt the night before and wasn't playing the next day, so we had to have someone step up. And I mean, Seth was huge, having, what do you have, 16 and 13 or something like that. So for a 6'2" postman, that's pretty good stats.
You know, when you guys look at your basketball team, you know, and I don't think I'm, you know, talking out of school here, but it doesn't seem like you have, you know, you don't have a 25, 30-point guy on the team. You've got a lot of guys that each individual night can step up and have big games, whether it's offense, defense, rebounding, whatever it is. Is that kind of a real asset where you know that, you know what, I don't have the pressure on me every game of having to score 15, 20, 25 points, but then again, if we play as a team unit, we're really going to be solid?
Yeah, I think it's a really good asset to have. I mean, as a scout, the opposition can't really scout one guy and shut him down and expect to shut one guy down and that'll be it for us. If one guy's taken out, we've got multiple guys that can step up and score at any moment.
You know, coming up here in the next week, we've got another 3 games. It's kind of a tough way to start the season. I know when I talked to Coach Sather about it, he didn't mind, but you play 5 games in like a 6-day period or a 7-day period. Is that a lot of basketball games early in the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of basketball, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to kind of just playing instead of just practicing every day.
That was Coach Sather's comments. He says these guys are just getting tired of, and usually he mentions Seth Bashan because he evidently practices, doesn't mind cutting someone's legs out or beating on you in practice. Is that how that works? But
he tries to make up for his lack of height by sharpening his elbows a little bit.
Well, it's good to watch. Tonight, we're actually going to play Jamestown. What's the scout on Jamestown?
They got a few guys. I mean, they're all solid guys on the roster that went through on scout yesterday. And our old coach, Coach Wick, is the head coach there now, so it's going to be fun to go against him. And I know they got a pretty good 3-man wing that's like a 6'4" guy that's putting up some pretty good stats, so he's a big key tonight and just being solid. And
you know, you mentioned you're going to be playing against Coach Wicks. He was here for a couple years as a graduate assistant, and then even part of this year he was going to be an assistant coach, or part of last year he was going to be an assistant coach, and then he ended up taking the job in Jamestown. Does he really know you guys as a team? Is that going to be difficult to coach or to play against somebody that knows you so well?
I think he'd know a few of us pretty well. I mean, he was here for Jared and I's freshman and sophomore years, and I mean, just doing our scout yesterday, their main offense was one that I guess he probably put in for us to run those years. So, I mean, it's good for us in a sense because we know what they're running and how it works and what the options are off it. But I mean, we've got a lot of young guys and new guys that Wick hasn't seen. So I don't know if you'd know the whole team well enough to have the upper hand there.
Sure. You know, it seems like college basketball, even at the Division II level, has really changed from what it used to be. It used to be, you know, you came in, you brought guys in, and they redshirted, and then you slowly brought them along. Well, we throw freshmen on the court right away, just like the Division I's do anymore. Is that just how much better high school and club basketball's gotten, or is that just out of sheer need at the college level right now?
I don't really know, honestly. I feel like the last few years we're slowly getting back into that. I feel like because we had like 3 or 4 last year, and now this year we got about 4 again. Just every year we have a solid amount of red shirts, and if we need guys, yeah, we throw them right away. So it is kind of the need, I guess.
Well, and here again, you two's background is a little different. Jared, you came in right away as a freshman. Trent, you actually took a couple years off, but were you still playing basketball after high school while you were playing football, or?
No, I hadn't. So there was a new rule in the NCAA that after high school, you can have 1 year off, but any year after that, they take a year of eligibility off you. So because of the time I spent out of high school not playing, they took my first year, so I had to sit that and then have 3 years of eligibility, basically.
Sure. Well, and so you're a little older than the typical college basketball player at the moment. No offense, Sarah, but you know you're not a 19-year-old. You're in your early mid-20s and playing against some of these guys. You know, with a lot of depth, I notice we have on the team here again. I'm assuming Coach Sather, Coach Severide, and those guys, they're going to match up our team with the opponents that we're playing. There's probably a different amount of minutes guys are playing every night. There's lots of different options that he has, whether a team is big or small or quick. How does that impact you guys in practice? Do you know kind of from day to day, game to game, what your role is going to be?
I think generally we know our role, but it sort of depends on who's available to play. Like, I mean, it'd be probably harder for someone like Seth, who, when Carter's available, Seth's playing at the 4, but now that Carter's hurt, Seth's our starting 5-man, so his roles change a bit. Sort of, mine and Jared sort of stay the same. We're still playing the same position no matter who plays, but I guess some guys might struggle with it a little bit.
Well, it's sure fun to watch. I know everybody's excited to watch some Wolves basketball. We've got 3 games coming up: Jamestown, Dakota State, and Dickinson State. With that, guys, I think we're going to be done. I'm going to let you guys go. We've been talking to NSU basketball players Jared Hannigan and Trent Zomer. This has been Tracking the Wolves. I'm Zach Flackus. Thank you.
NCAA championships are something special.
Filled with memories we will carry with us for the rest of our lives.
We ask that you cheer hard for your institutions.
Acting responsibly and courteously towards those around you.
In the spirit of sportsmanship, enjoy the game, and let's provide our student athletes, coaches, officials, and fellow fans the respect they deserve.
Welcome back to Tracking the Wolves, and thank you for joining us today. We'll go over some upcoming events. NSU Wrestling will return to action this Saturday as they travel to Mitchell for the Dakota Wesleyan Open. Northern Swimming team will be back in the pool this Friday for a competition against Minnesota Morris that begins at 5 p.m. up in Morris. And our football team will close out the home season this weekend as they host number 5 Minnesota Duluth on Senior Day from Swisher Field at 1 p.m. NSU's basketball team plays tonight in the home opener for the season as we compete against Jamestown College at 7 p.m. On Friday night, NSU volleyball and basketball have a doubleheader at the Barnett Center as the volleyball team takes on Sioux Falls at 6 o'clock, and then the basketball team will take on Dakota State at 8 o'clock. NSU's basketball team will also have a home game on Sunday, November 17th at 4 p.m. versus Dickinson State. In addition to the Friday match for NSU volleyball, they will also play Saturday as they take on Southwest Minnesota State, number 8 team in the country, in Wachs Arena at 5 p.m. That's all we have for this week. I want to thank you guys for joining us and thank our special guests, NSU head basketball coach Paul Sather and NSU basketball players Jared Hannigan and Trent Zomer. That's all for this week's NSU Tracking the Wolves. Join us next week. Thank you.